All right, guys, welcome back to the Average Prodigy. I'm Eli, and today we're joined with University of Wyoming tight end Jackson Marcotte. Hey, one thing I was wondering is what kind of resources do you guys have, playing, Division One football, for rehabbing and whatnot? Questions is what kind of lessons have you learned from having to rehab your ACL twice? Yeah.
So it gets very old, but you just have to stick with it. It's as much a part of the game and the process as a practices or playing. And my first thought was, where is Wyoming? I was fortunate because I ended up getting hurt right after I'd committed. And my high school coach was like, you should probably make some highlights.
What's your favorite thing about being in Wyoming?
Yeah, so one of the first things I noticed was I went to a restaurant and they have a
Oh, wow.
me and my parents came out here for my official visit, and it was kind of a lot. So they pick you up in these brand new SUVs, and each player's family has their own that they're chauffeured around in. So the two types of visits, there's an unofficial and official. Yeah, so I wanted to play basketball. I would have been a swimmer. There's always somebody who will knock you in the mouth, and you're like, that's the guy I want. I'm going to play you next year. It's going to be different. A lot of football, which I think is overlooked sometimes in high school.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Average Prodigy. I'm Eli, and today we're joined with University of Wyoming tight end Jackson Marcotte. How you doing, Jackson?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So first and foremost, you tore your ACL last season. So how's your rehab going?
It's going really good. I've been on campus for ever since I've done it. I've been rehabbing every single day, twice a day, and it's going really well. It's looking pretty promising, and it feels better than it did before. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah. So one thing I was wondering is what kind of resources do you guys have playing, Division One football, for rehabbing and whatnot?
Yeah, so we really have everything you could ask for. We have a top of the line training staff, so that's just your average athletic trainers, but at the college level. So they're usually pretty experienced. They've seen a lot of things, and along with that, we have state-of-the-art training facilities. So our training rooms are full of everything you could ask for. We have I do a lot of my rehab on underwater treadmill.
Oh yeah.
So that's really cool. That's what I started running on. We have cold tubs, hot tubs, chiropractors, masseuse. We have full access to the surgery center. So that's off campus. We use something else, but we have full access to the surgeons there and all the doctors. We have a team doctor on staff who's always in our training room. So really, there's everything you need.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's good. No, for sure.
Yeah.
So you tore your ACL in high school too, didn't you?
Yeah. So I actually tore my right ACL in high school basketball, and then I did my other one this last season.
Okay, gotcha. So what are the differences in your rehab back in high school versus you're rehabbing now? Is there too much difference?
Yeah, it's quite a bit. It's more intense, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Playing at a college level, I mean, we play at a pretty high level. Everything's pretty fast and pretty like I said, intense. So obviously your knees have to be able to withstand a lot. So
Right.
it's just about getting back to a place where you can play football. I did a little bit more this time in my knee, so as far as that went, there was more stuff to do. But yeah, and there's more. I've been more patient with it now. In high school, there was stuff I wanted to get back to. I wanted to get back and play my senior year of basketball, but now there's time between seasons. So I was fortunate enough, I guess, to do it at a time where I had 10 months before we started the next year.
Yeah.
So I've been more patient, and it's a lot more vigorous. You have to. In high school, I would do intense therapy twice a week, but now I'm doing it twice a day, 6 times a week or so. So
No, yeah, definitely. And that was actually going to be one of my questions is like, what kind of lessons have you learned from having to rehab your ACL twice? Like, is there any mental
Just
lessons?
do you say mental?
Yeah, like any mental lessons you've learned?
Yeah, definitely. I try not to fret on it too much, you know. I mean, that stuff happens to everybody. I'm not special by any means because I had a bad injury. So I really think if in no way like being down about it helps you. Obviously
Yeah.
I was upset when it happened just because I couldn't play with my boys, you know.
Hmm.
You want to be out on the field. But that's no reason to be sad about it. And I've had that attitude with both of them. I think it's easy to get really tired. It's a very similar routine every single day. The rehab is. I walk into the training room and I know exactly what I'm doing. My trainers are there with me, but they really just watch over because I know exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So it gets very old, but you just have to stick with it. It's as much a part of the game and the process as a practice is or playing is. So you just really got to commit to it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Those are really good because that's one of the things I was thinking because I haven't experienced an injury like that, but
Yeah,
I was thinking that I'm sure that there's a lot of good lessons that come from that.
yeah, definitely.
So you're from Illinois, Mount Carmel, Illinois, and so now you're playing
Yeah.
at Wyoming. So that's a pretty interesting story. So how did you get recruited to go to Wyoming?
Well, I always tell people the first thing I got a little like postcard
Mhm.
from Wyoming, and my first thought was, where is Wyoming? Like I've never really, I knew it was a place, you know, but I had
Yeah.
to kind of look up like where it was. And I didn't think much of it. I had always kind of want to go far from home. I wouldn't pass up a good opportunity close to home by any means, but I wanted to get away and kind of explore new places.
Hmm.
And so I didn't really think much of it. And then, you know, Twitter is the huge part of recruiting now.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really into Twitter, but I had one luckily. So so they finally just contacted me, and um, I talked to one of their coaches and he offered me a scholarship. You know, I was just really intrigued. I was like, I was always had the mindset if someone's gonna is putting interest into me, I want to put as much interest back into them. So I was able to fly out here and visit, and I really fell in love with it. It's just beautiful out here. I know that sounds whatever, but it's I
Yeah.
mean you have to see it every day. So it's a really cool place to be, and it's a kind of a small town vibe, which is what I grew up in,
Hmm.
and so I like that. And just it was just a place I from the moment I got here, the first time I visited, I kind of just fell in love with it, and it was an easy decision for me to come out here.
Yeah, definitely. And I know what you mean by the small town vibe because I'm from Hopstot, Indiana. You know where that is.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, that's pretty relatable for me.
yeah.
Did you have any other offers or just Wyoming?
I had two. I had an offer from Illinois State um and SIU Carbondale,
Oh, okay.
um, and then I had one offer for basketball for Eastern Illinois. And then I had talked to a lot of bigger schools. A lot of them just kind of wanted to watch my senior year, and my mindset behind that was I have a school that's at a pretty high level, that's took the chance on me without seeing that, and that meant a lot to me that they were just able to kind of pull the trigger on me. And so, and I was fortunate because I ended up getting hurt right after I'd committed, and so it kind of worked out good.
Yeah. And did you ever ask the coaches how they like found out about you? Like, did you post your highlights or what?
Well, so I never asked them. I didn't want to take any chances. I didn't want them to go back on what
Yeah.
they did, but um, I just remember some random guy that did recruiting asked for my highlights or something, and I didn't have any. And my high school coach was like, "You should probably make some highlights." So he helped me make them, and I think they just got their way out there. I never really paid attention to it. I just saw that it had a lot of views, like more than I would think I would get on mixed on like a highlight mix.
Yeah.
So I think it just kind of made her way out there. I know the process they use here is like they get a ton of film,
Hmm.
and then they just work through all of it. So as far as like those highlight films that guys make in high school are really important because it doesn't take much for it to catch someone's eye, and it starts at like the lower GA level, like our graduate assistants. And if they see something they like, they're gonna move it up the chain, and eventually it'll get to our head coach. And so so for me, I didn't think film was that important.
Yeah.
I had never really heard about it, but that's how guys get noticed. So
Right. Yeah, and I was talking to a running back at University of Illinois, Connor Lillig, and he was actually a
yeah,
walk-on at Illinois, and
mhm,
that's what he was saying. Is like he had no offers or any looks, and he just sent his film
yeah,
out to like 20 schools, and he ended up playing at Illinois now just from the film, which is kind of crazy.
yeah. You just like that. You get it to the right person who sees something in you. Because there's so many cases of people who don't have any offers and they end up an NFL Hall of Famer or something, you know.
Yeah.
And so it just takes the right person to see something they like to pull the trigger, and then the rest is history.
Yeah. I mean, John Morant, look at him. Coach
Yeah,
accidentally walked in the gym, and now he's a NBA All-Star. So pretty crazy.
exactly. Yeah.
So, moving all the way across the country, like, what was the transition like for you?
It was pretty smooth. The cool thing about being a part of a sport is, like for me, there was 20 other guys doing the same thing.
Hmm.
So you had people to relate to. Um, it's not like I had to move out here and then I was getting up by myself for workouts. I always had like my roommate that I had in the dorms my first year is my best friend now. He was always there with me, so that was cool. Just because there were guys that were going through the same thing,
Hmm.
and then you were so busy you never really have time to think about being away from home.
Yeah.
Like I obviously miss being home sometimes, but there's so much going on here. My schedule's so busy that I really don't think about it, and I just enjoy the time I have here and at home. So,
Yeah, definitely. And what's your favorite thing about being in Wyoming?
oh, I didn't have a movie theater where I in my hometown, and now we have a movie theater.
Oh yeah.
Um, no, I always tell people that because I really do enjoy that. But no, I love so we brag about this a lot, kind of like just as a team, but we're the only like university in the state. There's the state's huge, but there's not a ton of people here.
Really?
So
Hmm.
everybody is a Wyoming fan. And so it's really cool. You can go anywhere in the state and people usually know who you are. And it has that kind of small town high school football tradition feel
Yeah.
at a really high college level, which is pretty rare. Like you obviously have it with the bigger schools, where
Hmm.
they generate a lot of people, a lot of alumni and stuff. But for a smaller level, for a smaller school, we still play at a high level. But for a smaller school to have the fan base we do and the support by everybody, it's really cool.
Yeah. In Wyoming, does it feel like the old Wild West? Because that's what like I imagine it as.
Yeah. So one of the first things I noticed was I went to a restaurant and they have a rack for guys to put their cowboy hats.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah. So it's definitely very, yeah, a lot of ranching and all that stuff you would imagine. It's here. There's still like normal places. Like I said, there's a movie theater, which is cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, that you get the old west kind of vibe a lot.
No, yeah. Because that's what I was thinking. Because like I know in you guys end zones, you have like the mountains and stuff. So like I just think
Yeah,
of Old West.
yeah. If you walk outside, it's literally mountains all around you, which is it's cool. But you kind of like, yeah, it's exactly how you would think.
That's pretty sweet. Whenever you're on your visit, did that just like put you in awe the whole time?
Yeah, so me and my parents came out here for my official visit, and it was kind of a lot. Like you don't expect them to do that. The first cool thing that happened was like they work with all the car dealerships, so they pick you up in these brand new SUVs, and each player's family has their own that they're like chauffeured around in. Um, the meals are ridiculous. They really woo you. And if you haven't committed yet, I had already committed, but if you hadn't, it's really hard to say no to something like that. So the two types of visits, there's an unofficial and official, where they can pay for it. You're usually only there for like a day though, total. You get there like one night, and then you're there for a full day, and then you leave the next morning.
Yeah.
And it's kind of full of stuff. You get there and you meet with coaches, and you go through like a meeting, like what a film meeting would be like. And then we got to go to like a basketball game. And you walk in like the front row and stuff, and that's cool.
Yeah.
And then just like these really nice meals the whole time. And then they kind of let you loose to go with like, you have a host, who's one of the players. And for mine, we just went to his house and hung out. And you just get to talk about what it's like to play there. So it's kind of a rush for like never going through that experience. Like you don't really know what to expect, but it's similar to how it normally is in like the everyday life. So you get used to it.
Yeah. No, yeah. Because anyways, so like whenever you were younger, did you always know that you want to play, if not football, but just like a college sport in general?
Yeah. So I wanted to play basketball. I had always loved basketball, and I started playing football in 3rd grade. And I played all through high school, all the way up until then. And I like enjoyed it. We had a pretty big football tradition in Mount Carmel, so it was fun just to be a part of that. But I never really envisioned myself playing football. I always wanted to play basketball. And then once I started, like I put the film out, and then I had some people tell me that I could play football. And so I looked more into that just because I thought I could go further in football. But definitely, I always loved sports, and I knew I would have played whatever in college. I would have been a swimmer. I just wanted to do something.
Yeah.
And so definitely. But yeah, I wanted to play basketball. Ended up playing football, which is great. I just wanted to be a part of a college sport.
Yeah. And you played on the Adidas circuit in high school, didn't you?
Yeah, I played for Indiana Elite out of Indianapolis in the Gauntlet.
Yeah, how's it? You played with Rob Fennessy, didn't you?
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah, he was our point guard from my 8th grade year all the way through high school, I think. So we played together for 4 years.
No, yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Who was the best player you ever played against?
Oh. We played against a lot of good people. Best player. It wasn't a part of that. I played against Michael Porter Jr.
Oh, dang.
At a camp one time. He was pretty good.
Yeah, I'd say so.
He was probably the best player I ever played against. I never really knew. We played like Romeo Langford and stuff. We played his team, but yeah, we just so many good players. I can't even think of their names.
Yeah. No, yeah, that was a little bit off track, but I just had to ask you because I saw you play with Rob Fennessy.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So you guys last season had 7 tight ends on your roster. So what was the daily competition like to get playing time?
Yeah, it's really the competition aspect of it happens during camp. So we have like our month-long fall camp and spring camps. That's when a lot of the competition happens. Once you get into the season, you got it pretty narrowed down to what the playing time is going to be like. We had a 5th-year senior on our team who pretty much had that first spot locked down, and then me and the other guy were playing the 2 and 3 spot. And then it really comes down to just who's better at what type of stuff. I wasn't the best at maybe a certain aspect of the game that another guy was better at me was better than me at. So
Hmm.
so they would try and get in the game. But it really gets to a point where you have three or four guys who can always do what you ask them in a game. Like for me, before I got hurt, one of our other tight ends have got hurt, so I just kind of jumped into that 2 spot. And with our offense, we play 3 tight ends sometimes on the field at the same time, so you play a lot. But I think the cool thing is, especially like the culture of our team, is that even when a guy's starting, it's not like you don't like that person. Like
Yeah.
like obviously that's where you want to be, but we just work hard against each other at practice every day. But not only that, we try and help each other,
Hmm.
because whoever's out there, you want them to win their assignments. Because you want to ultimately win a game. And so I think in camps you're more locked into trying to win a spot, and then I mean that carries over in this season, but you really just want to do what you can to win games at that point.
Yeah, that's really good because I think a misconception. I was talking to a guy from Syracuse about this. I asked him like a similar question, and he was saying that like people think that it's a lot of competition, but it's just a brotherhood, and everybody just wants the
Yeah,
best for everybody.
no, that's exactly right. The coolest thing I've noticed in college is like in high school, I always won the ball. Like you always want the ball. You want all the glory.
Hmm.
In college, you get just as much excitement, if not more, when your teammate scores a touchdown or your teammate makes a big play. Because you go somewhere to win. I think everybody does that. You want to win games, and whatever level you're playing at, there's going to be dudes who are really good. And so like yeah, like that guy said, it's like a brotherhood. You don't care what happens. You all share the same locker room. We sit down next to each other after every practice and eat together. So there's really no room to be against somebody. You're always trying to get better and be the guy that people count on, but at the same time, you're rooting for every guy next to you.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. Um, so who do you think was your most difficult assignment this year?
Um, Boise State had a really good defensive line, and I can't think of the guy's name. I think he got drafted. He was their defensive end. He was really good. And then um, they had like a defensive tackle, and we ran a play where I had to come down on him, and he absolutely blew me up and embarrassed me. I was like, wow, I need to be better.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm sorry, I'm bad at names, but there's always somebody who will knock you in the mouth, and you're like, that's the guy I want. Like, I'm gonna play you next year, and it's gonna be different.
Yeah.
We played Missouri. Missouri's obviously had some good players. The amazing thing is the defensive backs are so fast, like defensive backs and linebackers.
Hmm.
So I know I'm not really answering your question without somebody's name, but
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
just like every player, just how fast they can get to you that's one of the things that always shocks me
Yeah.
is how fast people are.
Yeah. And that was another one of my questions is like what's the difference between high school football and college football? And
Oh my gosh. It's weird because you always think like if you're a star high school player, you can just transition right into college, and some
yeah.
people can. But there's always going to be a few days, if not a whole season, that it takes to acclimate to how fast it is.
Hmm.
I think you can sometimes get away with being a little like not as strong, maybe. You can get away with good fundamentals. Like if you have good fundamentals, you can beat someone who may be stronger than you.
Yeah.
But the speed of the game is so fast. In high school, where you catch like a short pass and you can turn around and get a bunch of yards, like for us, if you catch a short pass and get tackled, it's normal because guys are on you so quick.
Hmm.
Um, and everybody's bigger. like in high school, there's usually a few big guys on one team. Every team has a whole team of big guys.
Yeah.
Those big guys on your high school team fill up a whole team now.
Hmm.
So everybody's a lot bigger and a lot stronger and a lot faster. And that's like the cliche that everybody says, but it really is true.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest though. I didn't think that you had a 6'7", 250. I didn't think you had any moves, but after seeing those highlights, you got some moves on you.
Yeah, I try to do what I can.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So this is kind of an interesting question. Who would win in a 1v1, you or Nate Wayneman?
Oh, Nate and me are best friends, and I would beat him. And I'm only saying that because we're best friends. But no, he's a really good player. And I don't know. I can't answer that.
Yeah, no, I saw like an article or something that called you guys the Twin Towers, and they're just talking about you guys playing basketball
Yeah, we
and
don't know
whatnot.
how that nickname started. I think this kid that was a senior on our team last year, I think
Hmm.
he referred to us in an interview as that one time, and the guy loved it, and he just went with it, and we all went with it because we had no idea where it came from.
Yeah. Um. So, do you think that playing that basketball in high school, do you think that that had a big impact on transitioning into the football field?
Yeah, definitely. Um, a lot of football, which I think is overlooked sometimes in high school, is your footwork.
Hmm.
Um, and your hands. A lot of people just think it's like a brute force game, like who's stronger, which obviously helps. But the guy who's when you run into a guy that's just as strong as you, the person with the better feet and the better hands are going to win.
Yeah.
And so, from a footwork standpoint, basketball gave me good footwork. Um, if it's not where it needs to be, it gave me like the foundation to better that. And um, I mean, in basketball, you're always handling a ball, so it helps in football when you play a skill position where you're going to handle the ball occasionally. Obviously, it's not as much as a basketball game,
Yeah.
but when the ball does come your way, you're used to it. You're used to controlling a ball and having it in your hands, and so I think that definitely helps.
Yeah, definitely. And then you talking about like running to a guy as strong as you. One of the other guys I was talking to, they were talking about how once you get to college, it's like everybody was that number one player. Everybody was like that big, fast guy on their team. So I'm sure that's
Yeah,
probably difficult to transition into.
yeah, that's true. Because people recruit the best dudes from high schools, and then you just have a team of guys that are all good, which I think is where like the team culture really helps you out.
Mhm.
Um, when you have a group of guys that can put aside that, like, oh, I was the dude in high school, but now I'm going to put that aside and be a part of a team. And that's when you have really good teams. Like we beat Missouri, and that was a big part of it. Like we got down 2 touchdowns right off the bat, but we had a group of guys that was like, no, we're fine with this. Like
Yeah,
that's not gonna bother us. So
yeah, definitely. And then competing in the Mountain West on a weekly basis. Um, what are some of the things that go into preparing for like your position each week?
yeah, so we play on Saturdays. We have Sundays off. The Mountain West is a great conference.
Hmm.
It's sometimes overlooked just because it's not a Power Five conference, but um, there's tons of good players and great teams. So it's not relaxed at all in how we prepare for a team. Um, we have Sundays off. Monday we have a 5-minute meeting to talk about the previous game, and then that game's over. You
Hmm.
don't think about it anymore, whether you won or whether you lost. It's kind of out the door. And then we start on Monday with just a overview of who we're playing, what their schemes are like, and then what we're gonna do against them. Um, and then our Monday practice is pretty light because you're 2 days after a game, and it's really just almost fast-paced walkthrough of the stuff you're going to run, because we have a whole playbook that's accessible, but usually it's narrowed down for a specific team.
Yeah.
So that's really what Mondays are. Tuesday and Wednesdays are pretty intense practices. That's where you get the bulk of your work in.
Mm-hmm.
They're longer. You usually have pads on, and so you're really going at it. And it's all about by Thursday you have your stuff down.
Yeah.
Because some of the stuff we install in August, but we don't run it till November.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's about dusting it off the shelf and really figuring it out. And that's like the indicator for a good game, is when your Thursday is really crisp. And then Friday is just a quick 20-minute walkthrough, just to make sure everybody's on the same page with stuff.
Yeah.
We get the special teams out on the field, and then Saturday it's go time. So
Yeah, that's good. That was very in depth. So I appreciate that. You guys won a bowl game actually this year, right?
yeah.
So
Yes.
what was the experience like playing in a bowl game?
Oh, it's awesome. Ours wasn't like not the biggest bowl game
Mm-hmm.
on paper, but it's a pretty any bowl game is a big deal.
Yeah.
You get there and there's activities that they planned. We went to Top Golf as a team, which was really cool. And it's weird because you're doing all this fun stuff, but at the same time you're just kind of ready to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
And you usually get there 4 or 5 days before, so the whole time you're just ready to play the game. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. You get to stay at a cool hotel usually, and you get to do a lot of cool stuff. But really, all that anybody's worried about is playing the game.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty awesome. Where was your bowl game at this year?
it was in Tucson, Arizona, the Arizona Bowl.
Oh, nice.
It was at Arizona, their stadium.
Oh yeah, that's nice. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So that's basically all I have. Do you have anything you want to add?
I don't think so.
All right. Yeah.
You covered it all.
Good. Yeah. No. I really appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, thank you. It's been cool seeing what you've been doing.
Yeah.
And it's cool. I think like when I was in high school and stuff, I wish I had something like this to know a little more in depth about what college was like. So it's pretty cool that you're doing that.
Yeah. That's all I'm trying to do is just try to give insight to other people and like especially the high school players, because I know a lot of high school players who get recruited. They're not really getting any information or a lot of information. So, I'm just trying to help them out a little bit. So, yeah, appreciate that.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great.
All right, man. See you, bro.
All right, thanks. Have a good one.